This conference will
Might
now be
have some
recorded.
good stuff come up.
Yeah, well, so we switched systems, and we knew there were going to be some broken linkages. But yeah, it hasn't been as bad as I thought. There's been a few little continuity issues, but other than that, considering that we completely flipped systems and all the URLs are different and all of that, it's not going too bad. Of course, Chris might differ. His opinion might differ.
Yeah, I'm the one over here updating the link, so it's not bad though. It really hadn't been.
Yeah, we did the cheat sheet first, and then kind of tried to go down on my guess said the way. I mean, because we can look at the analytics at least on the old one if we can still get in there for the next minute and see how many views. But yeah, he's really digging through those things and getting them updated faster than I could do. You know how I type? If anybody's ever seen me type. So anyway, so how is everyone? Outback Jack, you had a good birthday last week, I guess.
Yeah, he's still enjoying his vacation, it looks like.
Yeah, I just noticed they had like a green screen on this thing now.
Yeah.
You're going to get as bad as Brian and start getting over technological.
Actually, it's part of this platform. I just noticed it when I got on. I was like, since when did they add the green screen stuff? So they got like some kind of simulated green screen on here now.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, hell, I'll try it.
Yeah, I got a pair of those Ray-Ban, whatever you call them, stories. They got 2 cameras here.
Oh, those are
and speakers and microphones and all kind of stuff. They're kind of neat. It's a novelty though. What I wanted it for was to wear them and like be able to hold a driver or take something apart, a connector, and actually have it POV, for instructional use. But the maximum video it can take is 60 seconds. So now, granted, usually the kind of videos that I'm doing for that instance, you don't want them 20 minutes long, because you're trying to explain how to check a contactor or meter some test points, on the back of a connector or something like that. So you want them to be short. So I think I could still make them useful. I could just keep hitting the button, if it's 3 minutes worth of stuff, and then I can stitch the files together. But I wish it would live stream or at least stream in real time while I have them on. Maybe there's a hack for that. If not, I'll just wear a GoPro on my head. We were talking about that earlier.
I thought the cops had one that they had. It was similar to that some of the cops use for their own personal.
And there's
things that got much longer recording time on them.
Yeah, and there's other wearable tech. I broke my old aviators that my wife got me that I've had for 10 years, and I figured if I'm gonna get some Ray-Bans, why not see if I can get some with some tech in them. But the reviews aren't super great. It's probably not worth what they cost. But I don't know. It's kind of neat, kind of nifty, and I'll find a use for them. So I think that POV thing will be a good thing. So anywho, that's all I got going on. What about you, Grant? Do you have anything new or
no?
imperative?
We've got that filming coming up in a month.
Or noteworthy?
Can you hear me?
You're muted.
I can hear somebody.
I can hear Grant.
I can.
Yeah,
now.
I was going through my phone. I said we got the filming coming up next month.
He's on. He's on another line. That's right.
Am I delayed or something?
Chris and no.
What?
But yeah, that's right. We have a little vacay planned for Texas next month, and Chris and I are going down there. I think Chris Lacasio is going to show up. I think Alicia is going to show up from Hustle and Burn. Yeah.
Man, nobody invited me.
And I didn't know anything about it until Clay said something. I don't know. I don't think it's all the vendors and stuff. I think it's more the influencers, and they want us down there just to have a round table and maybe get those production guys to. I think Chris has some ideas on some video shorts, on descriptive parts of the machine and some overviews and things like that. So that'll be interesting. Has anyone gone to the new site or had to or tried to use it or went to go look for an article in an old YouTube video and it break yet? That's what we've been seeing on a bunch of these.
No, I haven't been on there since you guys started doing the changeover.
Yeah. I don't know how many people actually get on there anyway, because there really hasn't been a huge outpouring of, hey, what happened? I mean, we've had what Chris, like 5, 6, maybe 7 instances. You're muted too. But
Yeah, it hasn't been too bad. Just a couple.
yeah, considering what it could be. But it's hard to plan this thing because after you switch over the CNAME record, so that the URL, the support.thunderlaserusa.com points to a different place, it takes a couple days, then all the links are off, and then I couldn't set up email until after that was in place. So there was we never did lose continuity with core support functions, I don't think. And I said that I thought we would not do that. I think we maintained that. But whenever you go to the old links, it's confusing now because it's telling you to sign up for a Zoho account, which is not necessarily what you have to do. So that's the biggest thing that I see with it. But it'll work itself out. It always does. So.
Hey, Brian,
Hey, buddy.
I want to check to see if y'all already have done the measurements or have the knowledge before I go to try to weasel my way into this.
Okay.
If I pull the knives, I pull the honeycomb, and I pull the trays out, what's that total depth to the bottom that I can't pull out?
I
Has
don't know.
anybody looked at that on the 130 or the 51-130?
But
Got a big project, do you?
Well, I actually, and she just brought it up. She saw it in one of the pages, but I actually got asked by a customer if I can drop an entire barrel in the laser to engrave the staves, because I don't know anybody ever dealt with barrels. They're not much fun to tear apart and put back together.
How much depth do you have to have? Have you measured the diameter of the center part of the barrel?
A lid is average of 21 inches. The center pushes 30 to, depending on a bourbon or a wine, anywhere 32, 36 at the most. It's kind of, yeah, exactly.
The only way you could probably get away with that is by actually, does your tray slide out?
Yes, I've got the slide outs, but I haven't stuck my head in there yet to see, how they come out and everything.
What you probably could do is, I've actually thought about it myself, is to cut as much of the frame away underneath as possible to still allow structural integrity to actually have that drawer slide in there. And then if I'm doing something that I need a great deal of depth, I just pull the crumb tray out, and then I've got a completely open bottom. But on my 63, it's divided into 2 sections. I don't know about the 51, if it's two separate, or if it's one.
The Z-axis
it's
motion
separate.
control systems are all in the bottom of that thing, so you can't just get rid of them.
Yeah,
you have to.
They're on the outskirts of the machine, though. They don't run through the center.
The tensioner and all that
tensioner.
stuff do run in the center.
Like a
Does it?
W shape. Yeah.
Yeah.
Comes,
So
to the
No.
Chris Lucasio cut the center beam of his out, and he just lowers his bed all the way without having that part in the way.
Is that
Yeah.
structurally safe?
Not exactly, but
Okay.
his is still
It still works. Yeah.
still working.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
That sounds like a
Just
Travis question.
That's what I'm talking about. Just cut the bottom of the tray part out.
No, not the bottom. He didn't cut the
He's
bottom
talking
out.
the
He cut
front,
Not the bottom.
front beam
The-
that goes horizontal.
Oh, okay. I see what you're
Yeah.
saying.
so that you can just slide something in there without having to deal. Now, here's your problem also. If you're going to leave the frame intact, if you're dealing with something that big, even if you take out the crumb trays, even if you move every obstacle that could be moved, there still may be a problem with the actual frame of the bed, which not on that machine. That should be big enough.
Yeah. That should be one piece, I think, ain't it?
Well, not
I
once
know
you
my
take all the
six-
blades and honeycomb and stuff out, then you still have the frame to deal with. What I'm saying is, if the circumference of the frame or the diameter, the biggest part of the barrel is bigger than the smallest diameter of the frame, you see what I mean? You're still going to be bumping into it.
He just
Well, he's
pulled
talking about.
measurement 25, so probably under 30.
How wide is what is the y-axis on a 51? You've got a 51, right? What's it?
I think it's
900.
30,
It's 13
35.
by 9. Yeah, it's 13
900.
by
So
900. Yeah,
yeah.
36-ish.
So
Yeah.
if your barrel, you see what I mean? If the inside dimension of that frame on its shortest side is less than the diameter of the largest diameter of the barrel in the center, you may have to contend with that frame, and you can't take it out unless you take the belts and the lead screws and the only thing you'll be able to remove is the honeycomb and the blades.
Now, you can't pay me enough, and I don't pay y'all enough to help me put it back together, so no.
well, there
Hey,
is an alternative machine out there, but I won't say the name.
we all know the
that'll
one that
do
doesn't have the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a $1,000 laser on top and a $40,000 table.
Yeah.
No, but that being said, if you're not going to make a huge business and you got a few, right, you could look at like the Ortor Laser Master or something, the open frame, and just build you something out of wood to sit above it. If you're going to do a few barrels, right, and you can get one of those for $400 or $500.
Now I think can't you? Because the bottom base comes off of those machines, right?
Yeah, that'll just make it shorter though.
That won't open anything up on the bottom.
No, it's closed and sits on top of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's how we can ship them with the tubes in them. Otherwise, we'd have to be like everybody else and ship them with the tubes separate. And then the people like the OM techs, they don't ship with the tubes in them. They break them. They'd break them in a heartbeat. So that's one of the things that makes our system, so rigid. I would just pull the honeycomb. You can take a pretty good measurement. Just lower your bed all the way, and measure to the aluminum of the frame up to 6 millimeters below the nozzle, or up to the autofocus array, and that'll give you a rough guesstimate. Because you'll know what you'll be able to pull out of the way.
Or just like I was saying, cut where the crumb tray sits, just that opening, not the actual bottom of it where you're talking about where the pulleys and all that stuff are mounted, but just that part that the crumb tray slides into. Underneath it, there's the solid metal. Cut that out, and then if it's 30 inches wide and the machine's 24-inch opening, you can kind of cradle it maybe inside that opening and have it down enough to maybe work. I don't know.
Yeah, there's no way.
It's about 150 millimeters too short.
Yeah.
At what you're measuring, at what you're able to see, that's how far off you are.
So y'all have got the protector or whatever that centerpiece is that kind of protects the drive belts.
Mm-hmm.
From there to eyeballing the laser where the head would sit is a little under 500, and we need to be able to pull it to 660.
Yeah.
So physically, it's not possible. Not without literally taking everything apart, cutting the bottom of and not for the amount of money that we spend on this machine.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, the only reason I want to do it is because nobody else around here can do it.
Mm-hmm. Or you could take it apart and just deal with the pain.
Hell no.
Yeah, the only other
Thought I'd throw it out
alternative, like
there.
you're talking about, the $40,000 something.
Yeah. Now we did have somebody a while back that asked about taking the top section off of the laser and then gutting it that way and not having a Z-axis, but he wanted to make it a specific use machine just for stuff like that. He basically wanted to turn it into one of those other ones, and then just lose all Z-axis altogether. Now, if that was something that you were going to do a whole bunch of, then it may be feasible to yank all the guts out of the bottom. But other than that, you're right. You wouldn't want to tackle that.
Yeah.
But like he said about the diode machine, or what about a K40? You could cut the bottom out of a K40 and set that joker on top. It's a CO2, 40 watt, 32 watt. Let it do its thing, move it over a little, do some more, spin it, sit it back on top, do a little more. You can pick one of them up for $400. That might have been what.
Mounted on an engine hoist, and you just lift it up over top of them, do it in the yard.
There you go. Suspend it. Well, as long as you don't make it move around. as long as it doesn't swing like a
Well, that
pendulum.
it'll swing. That'll swing like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Get you a
Like I said,
CO2 Galvo with a really big with a really tall and really long arm, your tower and arm.
That would have to be really long.
That lens would look like a man. What would that look like?
It looks
That
like
data
a
lens would be like 12
spotlight.
inches in diameter,
like
No,
like
no,
a little stage light.
Just
no,
go
the
old
lens will
school.
be
Get
fine
you.
though, because
or
I've got
just farther away.
I'd
yeah,
have
it'd
better
just be the
luck with a
clearance.
magnifying glass in the damn sun.
There
What
you
I was
go.
saying, I say, just go old school and go get you a wood burner.
Yeah,
That one.
got one. Now I think but for what you're looking for, right? So I've got a Ortor Laser Master 2 here, right? That gives you a 20 by 20 that you can literally build you. So effectively build you a jig, right? So I've got a piece of Baltic birch plywood with the bottom of it cut open to where I can lift that up and set it, and then I literally engrave on anything I want and position it and get a 20 by 20 inch before you got to move it and realign it. And
Yeah, just
That
a
would
little
work for
slower.
engraving the lid on a barrel without having to take it apart.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
That's
You
a
could
nice
literally make you
21-inch circle.
you could literally make you a jig and just set it on there and let it sit there.
Yeah, little slower than what you might be
Uh,
used to.
I can't get too far ahead of myself. Our next big purchase from y'all is the fiber. Cross our fingers, it's by the end of the year. And then we just bought our son a 3D printer so he can start doing
3D resin
yeah,
printer.
a resin printer
Mhm.
so he can
I got it.
start doing other things to enhance the business.
There you go.
Nice.
Good
How old's
deal.
your kid?
20.
20.
Unless they start charging him rent. No, it was a little one.
No, he sweeps up the shop. He runs the CNC machine. But at least, and I think we found potentially courses so he can learn the CAD and start doing 3D images and everything else and creating the STL files.
Hmm.
There's
Which
a
program you
there's
looking to do it?
there's a really good program out there. It's free. It's the old Fusion 360 program. It's called 123D Designs.
Yep.
And that's what I use for all of mine, and it's very easy and it's free. But you got the Fusion 360.
Easy is a relative term. I have all kinds of 3D printers. I've never made anything on them if I didn't get it off Thingiverse.
Well, I mean, everything with the rotary was 3D printed at one time and designed in CAD.
Yeah,
So I mean, all that stuff was done through that program. It's really
yeah.
easy to work with. It's like what do you call it? Where you
Like SolidWorks where you can extrude and stuff like that.
yeah, but it's
Yeah.
more. I'm trying to think of the word subtractive and
Parametric,
where
additive,
you
or
add
subtractive?
additive and subtract parts and pieces to make the shapes and you can curve. Whereas like the Fusion 360, the full program that is like $600. Of course, you can get a license for education and stuff like that. That's free, but that's more of an intuitive program that takes quite a bit of time to learn how to use. Whereas, like I said, with the other one, you just basically take basic shapes and add and subtract them, merge them, and kind of shape what you want that way. Um, so I mean, it's a good basis to learn off of for sure.
What was the
And
program, Jason?
it's called a 123D Designs. It's not you have to dig for it because it's not readily available. Because basically that was Fusion 360 before Fusion 360 became what it is now. And actually, I might actually have it. I could share the file or something.
I will look into it. I mean, we found Fusion 360, and I know I can do the free version of it, but it doesn't let you do hardly anything. And right now, I'm not interested in paying $300 a year, so he can try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Look
No, it's
into if he's trying to figure it out and you want something intuitive as well, right? Look into Google SketchUp. I
I
do.
don't know that
I've
SketchUp will work for it.
It will. I use
It will.
SketchUp for all sorts of 3D modeling. Use it to convert stuff for my CNC, for the laser, and my 3D printer. You got to get the right plugins, right? So there's a plugin for STLs, and it'll export directly. There's a plugin to export to SVGs. I mean, yeah, Google SketchUp is very useful because there's tons of models that already exist online.
No, I'm familiar with
Yeah,
SketchUp.
but,
I
but
do some of my plans for furniture in it just so I can show the client, or I have a buddy of mine do it for me. But I have all the access to that and whatnot. I'll put him on that and see what he can come up with. I appreciate it.
Yeah. I
here,
think you can use Blender too, which I've looked at that once, and I thought that was more like for doing CGI or something. But that's
Hey,
I put that away really quick.
hey Tommy,
Yeah, man.
hit me up on an email and I'll send you the file here. I found the program. So it's just rotoboss@outlook.com. Just send me an email and I'll respond back to it and I'll send you that file.
All right. Well, cool. Well, does anybody have any questions or anything? Feel free to jump in, and if you do.
So that asking about putting the barrel in the laser, we had somebody ask about that, but then somebody asked, like he said in one of the Facebook groups, and I just told him, I was like, hey, we're on the webinar right now. I asked, like, you'd have to disassemble your machine, and I'm not doing all that. He's in Kentucky too, it looks like. So he was asking, besides AP, who else sells one of the open frame lasers, I guess?
Nobody.
No, that's
They've-
how
they've got
AP
a-
keeps their
they got a
price at
patent
40
on that.
grand. Yeah.
They've got a
And then-
patent on that whole thing, so
Okay.
nobody's doing it legally. Like
Yeah,
I
I
said,
thought
the
Full
closest.
Spectrum, which I wouldn't recommend buying them. I thought they had one with the open bottom on it.
I think if you get a little desktop one, some of them can do that. I think one of the full spectrums does that. That you could make it do that with a K40 or something. But as far as the bigger ones, the class that you're looking at, I don't think there is anyone but that one orange one.
Yeah, Full Spectrum has one, but it's a detachable cabinet, so it's not technically an open architecture design like AP has their claim to fame. So I think that's how they kind of get around doing that. But
Yeah, I just wouldn't wish that on you though.
yeah, no.
Oh, I'd much rather just tell people, no, I'm not doing it.
Well, like
There you go.
Brian said, I mean, a K40, you cut the bottom out of that, you could probably literally set it right on the barrel with the opening on the barrel and engrave it. I mean, it'd be you might have to make like a little wood jig or
Yeah,
something.
but see,
to
the
help
only problem
support
with the K40 is you're still dealing with water cooled, and usually it's with a 5-gallon bucket and some ice packs. So Jeremy's, even though it would be slower, it's a lot less complicated to go the diode route, like Jeremy was talking about, because the frame is simple. It's just made out of that standard extrusion typically, and that kind of stuff. And you don't have to worry about a
Yeah, but
water source and all of
Can
that.
the UV go around a curve like that though? Because UV is a little bit more critical with the curving in it.
Well, I don't think it's the wavelength so much as it is the optic and the focal range,
It's
the
the
focal
Well, that's what I'm
optic, the
talking
depth of
about is the
field.
optics to be able
Yeah.
to get that kind of
Yeah.
curvature.
So,
What
so
y'all
your
are
diode
forgetting.
has the diode has a finer spot size in the UV. So yeah, it's going to be a lot tighter focus, which means the focal is going to be a lot more or less tolerant to
Yeah.
But if you're
different.
doing huge letters on the side of a stave,
It really
if
won't
you're a
matter,
little out of
right?
focus, it doesn't really matter. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
true.
I know some people that have done some work on some of the staves because of the natural curvature. They'll do part of it and then they'll refocus and do the other part and then refocus and do the other part.
That's one option. Or you could put them all in some sort of clamp and flatten them out.
Oh no.
See what I've
I've
done.
tried that before too. No,
Steam
that
bending.
doesn't work good.
What I've done for staves
They're
is
not
use
paying
the
enough.
4-inch lens. Use
Yeah.
a 4-inch lens as long as you're not doing anything too technical. You can use a 4-inch lens and do quite a bit. I've done about from the center of the stave out. I'd say it's probably 16 inches before it starts to kind of get distorted. because of the curvature.
Mhm.
You could
So
do
you
it
could
with, and that's with a 4-inch lens.
do it half and half. You could probably catch it half and half that way and not have to, if you even wanted to do that, put it at that first angle and then
Yeah.
slide it over to the
Yep.
second half at just a little bit of an angle also
Yep.
to straighten it out.
Aren't
Yeah,
you
you
guys
could do-
talking about doing the cap of the barrel and not the sides of the barrel?
They're
Well,
talking
he's
about the
talking about
side.
the stage. The
I
stage or
actually
the
had
sides
an
of the
email
barrel.
from a client that wanted an entire barrel, the side of it, up and down, on the
That
stage.
magnifying glass on a sunny day sounding better and better.
It is.
Why don't you just? I mean, everybody's forgetting they
on it, and
got that B word sitting in there. They could just start dismantling it and use it.
yeah, I'm not taking apart a barrel.
No. Your
Talking about
boss
the
laser.
boss.
Instead
Yeah,
of
yeah.
destroying your thunder,
Oh yeah, don't.
Yeah, it's not quite big enough. It's little.
but you could
Unless-
dismantle it and turn it into something for it. Arch cut the sides, set it on top of a wood frame. That way you could just slide your barrel in on its side and.
Don't tempt me.
I know you're a redneck like me, so I know you could figure that one. You're sitting there looking at a sawzall.
He's
and
looking to see if there's a battery in the sawzall. Yeah.
So what we need, Jason, is a rotary that can sit on top of it, and he can flip his optics and his head upside down and engrave from the bottom up,
Yeah,
and
we'll
have
do
your
one of those.
rotary
Oh, yeah.
across the top. There you go.
Shrink your barrel down a little bit and it'll fit.
There you go.
Put it in the rotary and
And that'll
See,
fit
we
right on
do.
the rotary.
What about a
take the-
periscope? What about
A what?
actually have another optic in focus at the bottom and have it shoot out the louver, and then you could sit it there and then
Oh,
have your
good
rotary.
lord.
walk in front of the machine at the wrong time. Free vasectomies.
Yeah, right.
No, if you basically just take that boss and make an arch out of it and set it up on a table, then you could just put your barrel on a slide and you could just push your barrel in underneath of it, and then you wouldn't have to do anything else.
What would really be cool is have
It's
an
not big enough.
have an arched x-axis.
Yeah.
Have an arched x-axis that just rides along as on a curvature.
Yeah, you'd be better with live focus. If you're
Big ass
do that.
rotary. That or just get a big ass rotary.
And right now, that's all I'm looking at. I'll spin the shit and use a damn magnifying glass in the sun. If the sun ever, today's the first day we've had sun in, I don't know, 4 days?
It's like sun. What's that? Although same here. We just finally
It
got
looks
sun.
like you're getting some sun there in your little grove of pine trees out back, Jack.
Yep. That's about all I get. Fake sun. Hey, the only
Alright.
thing that came out of last week's birthday though is I got a steak dinner. I
Hey,
had not been out to a restaurant in probably 7-8 years.
You the Colonial? Okay.
Damn it. Yep, that's us.
I was making sure it was you before I go sending someone a random file.
And we did order the 1.5-inch lens to try, which should be
Mhm.
getting here Saturday, I think, to see if we can cut some of that thinner stuff. And I have started redoing the spreadsheet.
Mhm.
Once I'm done with it, it'll break down even the species of wood just for giggles.
Cool.
Like today, we were playing with basswood. The other day, we did walnut. Cherry and walnut are pretty much going to be about the same.
Do one thing tomorrow.
And then different thicknesses with the different lenses.
Mhm. Nice.
That way,
Now-
by time we're said and done, it may take me 6 damn months to get it done, but by the time we're said and done, you should have a fairly detailed list for the machine.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Cool. Well, if anybody's got anything else, like I said, jump in and let me know.
Trying to figure out where Travis is.
I'm
I
jumping
think
in.
I lost-
All right, Kevin, what you got, man?
All right, so now my laser's coming tomorrow.
Okay.
But I didn't realize that I was going to be so far out getting some epoxy on my garage floor, so I probably won't be unpacking it. I'm going to throw it in another shed and move it over to my garage when I get the floor done, which probably won't be end of May, June. Is there anything, I mean, I don't have to open it up and check for damages or anything. or you got to have it covered dry? Or
Well,
if it
if
doesn't
it is
look like
damaged,
damage, well,
if it is damaged, we're gonna figure it out, and we're gonna get you, get it all mitigated. So, I mean, it it may be a good idea to have a look if you want to pop the top and just kind of make sure everything looks all right.
okay.
But even if it doesn't, we'll know what's going on and be able to help you with it. I don't know that we've very often ever, if I don't even know if we've ever had to ever send out another machine before. It might have been possible. Usually we can mitigate whatever you got going on. Usually it's feet,
Gotcha.
or the e-stop switch might be crushed, or little stuff like that.
Right. Nothing major. Like if I don't see any,
unless they stick a
damage to
fork
the
through
crate, it should be all
through
right.
the crate.
Yeah,
That's one thing that we do
right.
see. But that's, that would be visible damage. You'd be able to tell should be able to tell if there's a fork gone through there, through
Right.
the side of the
For
crate.
sure.
So, yeah, you should be okay.
Okay. So if the crate looks good, I should be all right.
Yeah, I mean, you won't know. The only reason it may be worth, because let's just say, for instance, in this, I don't know if this has happened. Let's say the tube does break. We were just talking about transporting them with the tubes in there. If you happen, it may not be a bad idea to at least pop the top off and look in the tube bay, because if it is, we've got them in Texas. It only takes a couple of days, but you may want to get a head start on that in case there
Okay.
is something damaged.
Yeah, I would
But,
open it up.
All right.
just so that you can go ahead and document it. It won't change what we do. It'll just change the timeline. If you wait to open it, you won't know whether anything's bad until then, and we're just,
Right.
be able to get Johnny out of the spot with it. But probably be a good idea. Also, so we can notify the shipping company if that is a thing. And again, I don't know how
Right.
effective that is on our end, but I don't. You don't have to pull the whole thing out, I don't think, and take the whole machine out and check every piece. You know what I mean? But I'd probably at least pop the lid. And what machine are you getting?
51-100.
Okay, so the chiller and the toolbox and all that stuff will be packed on the side, so you'll be able to see it. If
Okay.
something's caved in, you'll be able to notice. Pretty
Tube,
easily.
you can tell where it is then, or the tube
I'm sorry?
out of the machine, or the tube's in the machine, or out of the machine?
The tube's in the machine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you should be able to open it up without taking any of the sides off. I think that's right. I don't know.
Okay.
The
I'll
top,
Just to
try.
pull the top off.
yeah, the top's just nailed down.
Yeah, just pull the
side-
top off.
Sides actually
and-
have the metal.
But you'll have to get to the keys.
Corner
Is the
bracket
thing. I think
stuff.
it's probably the tube bay is probably locked, and the keys are
Okay.
inside the lid, which means you'd have to open the lid and cut the keys off and all of that. So I don't know how far you want to go. I'd visualize what's inside the box, if nothing else. Even if you crack the lid and just look down in there and make sure everything looks okay.
Okay. Sounds good.
You don't have to take every single thing out, I don't think.
No, just look in there, and if you see something, let us know so we can submit a claim or something like that.
Sounds good. All right.
Just
Thanks a lot.
Hey Grant, did you get that email?
Which one? The one from earlier?
Yeah, that forwarded.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't see a picture though.
Oh, it was in there somewhere. It might not have forwarded with the message.
Sorry, I'm answering the ticket real quick. I figure there's Chris is here to back me up if I get out of my brain for a minute. He's listening.
It's just like Penn and Teller. I don't know which one I am, but I'm kind of the quiet one.
I could go on one of my
Does
rants.
Does anyone
that's
had anyone know of these Emax compressors with the sound baffles on it? It's like a regular compressor. It's got baffles on it, so it hardly makes any noise. It's got the traditional makings of a upright vertical compressor.
I just now looked them up. Looks like Northern Tools got them.
Yeah, is it the orange
Those are
one?
nice. Those are nice. I mean, those are $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 compressors. A lot of times
Right.
we're talking about $200 or $300 compressors. So yeah, you won't go wrong there. I would say. Some of these are 10 horse, 120 gallon. I mean, which one are you looking at?
Probably gonna look at the five horse 80.
There it is. Okay. Oh, that's a 3-phase. You can. Oh, do they?
Yeah, they got a 1-phase too.
Do they?
Single phase.
There's one 7.5 horse, 80 gallon, single
Yeah.
phase.
And then they got a upgrade one with the automatic drain. It's got spacing between where the compressor mounts on the plate. There's like a inch by inch spacing to keep it cooler. It runs at low RPMs. It's supposed to let the compressor last longer because you're not running at high RPMs all the time.
Yeah, and that's not an oilless pump either. So yeah,
No,
it's got a
it's got
sump in
oil,
it and
yeah.
everything. Yeah, that's a nice one. And I see there's a dryer option for about half the cost of the machine. Also,
Right. Yep.
Lesser. Refrigerated dryer looks like. Yeah.
Yep. I was kind of going after, or Jason was, I don't know what he said last week, cry once or whatever. He was talking about the compressors, but I forget the phrase he used.
Yeah.
It's almost what I'm thinking, like,
buy once, cry once.
yeah, buy once, cry once. Like it shouldn't last me a lifetime at my age, I would think.
That looks like a. I don't see. I'm looking at some club aircompressorsdirect.com or something like that, so I don't know how these ratings work on here, but I haven't seen this particular brand before, so
I just kind of ran across it. It started out with I can't think of the name of it now, but it was all lime green, and I looked at the same compressor. Actually, I think Emax makes it because somebody on Amazon said save yourself like $1,000 and buy the Emax. It's the same machine. So then I started looking at the Emax. But yeah, I watched the video and this thing's quiet, like low hum. Guy was standing there talking on video next to a normal compressor, and he switched over to theirs, and it was like, damn, that'd be perfect for a small room garage and not having, still talking on the phone or whatever.
Sure. I'm gonna pop that up for a minute if I do the right one, and I'll put the link in the chat if anybody wants to check it out. But yeah, specs.
Yeah, looks like 2 Tractor Supply sells them too.
Yeah. 29 CFM, 100 PSI, max 175, which you don't ever go, above 55 or whatever anyway. Yeah. Wow. 743 pounds.
Question is what are you planning on doing?
That thing weighs as much as the laser. Wow. That's a big boy. Awesome.
Well, I plan on using it for other than just the laser. I want the whole shop to have air.
Sure.
And whatnot. It's not just going to be for dedicated to laser.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Howdy, Travis.
How's it going?
How are you?
Just staying busy.
Are you? That's a good problem to have.
Don't let him fool you.
Yeah.
He just got to. Maybe he did just get out of bed. Maybe he pulled an all-nighter.
No, just been working. Had to run over to a job site really quick, but yeah, no, we've been busy. We've got about I think last night when we looked, we had 216 orders in our job queue.
Nice.
Yep, not bad.
All right. Well, like I said, if anybody has anything at all, feel free to jump in. I guess I will have to go. We can look at the manual through the new portal link. Chapter 1, Section 1. Just kidding.
Well,
since I don't get to talk to you and Chris very often, when are y'all going to schedule the stuff you need to schedule?
In reference to
the trip.
It's done, dude.
Oh, you already scheduled it?
Yeah. We got the tickets and the room and the car and the whole bit.
Did you get the room that I was telling you about?
I did.
Sweet.
Oh, I'm not even going to go there.
Man,
That
I'm gonna
specific
leave it
room.
alone.
are you bringing the
left
fuzzy
out.
handcuffs too?
We're talking about specific rooms, okay.
I feel all left out now.
So do I, and I know what's going on.
Y'all be
Grant,
like 5 miles down the road from me.
Yeah,
Grant,
it's to
you're,
keep an eye on me is what it's for. I mean, come on, let's just tell the truth here. No, I'm
Yeah.
actually really boring now. I quit drinking. I quit smoking. I'm not drinking very many monsters. I'm just no fun anymore.
you're starting to show your age.
I am.
No one likes a quitter.
Yeah, well, I'm a quitter. So
Grant's hoping that's not the truth when you get down there.
yeah,
Grant's too
man.
young.
Well, I might get in trouble. I still got to go home afterwards.
I'm pretty sure we're not going to get in too much trouble. We're just a bunch of laser nerds.
Oh yeah, so that probably means we're not doing the Thursday webinar that week. We'll be no, we could yeah, we'll be at the airport by then. Which I will be.
So with a bunch of laser nerds dinner, they need to clear all the airspace.
Probably.
Oh, do you have that snippet, Brian? Speaking of that user that posted in one of those other groups about the FAA, the triangulation, the police.
I
Y'all
saw
get a good
that.
laugh
I
out of
don't know if I
this.
believe that.
You can't
I
believe
for
it.
sure don't believe that. But
Invisible laser.
Yeah.
they can't triangulate a visible laser beam anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
How do you do that? You know, unless you have your laser mounted on a tripod and you have it on a 555 timer where it goes click, 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 and it's just flashing in the same spot until they figure it out. But yeah, that was something.
So Travis, what's fun and exciting in Alaska?
Not much. Sounds
What
like we
about
have less snow than most of the places in the lower 48.
What about the Northern Lights?
Oh, dude, they've been out almost every single morning.
That's on my bucket list. I want to see that badly.
Yeah, if you want to see that, your best thing is to go up to Fairbanks.
Mm-hmm.
You actually just go up to Maine.
If you go to Iceland, really nice up there.
Yeah, they get them a lot more than we do up here.
Yep.
Huh.
And it's like for about 8 hours through the night. You just it's in the wintertime when you see them, obviously.
Have you seen the picture of those little huts that are glass or whatever? You know, and you can like stay in them. It's like a little igloo, but it's made out of glass, and like you could just lay there and watch, just way out in the middle of nowhere.
Where at?
I'm not sure where it is. I've saw, some of that crap that comes through, some of that clickbait on Facebook, the little vacation things. It's like a little hut or something, but it's out in the middle of the snow and it's got glass roof, so you can just lay in there and watch it all night long.
It's probably in Travis's backyard, and he's ain't telling us.
It is.
No, they do something similar to that up in Fairbanks. During the winter, they have what they call the ice hotel. And so you go there and you're staying in solid rooms of ice that have clear ice roofs on them. And then they have like a full bar. All the glasses they give you are ice. So when you go to order something from the bar, the glass is just made out of ice. Everything in there's ice. It's really cool though.
Yeah, so they've got a place called Panorama Glass Lodge, right? And it's like what you're talking about. It's like little glass cabins, effectively. It's a hotel.
Yeah, the roof's a parabola made of glass or acrylic or something. But yeah,
these look more like almost like a little glass cottages, but but they've got them specifically for just they're watching the Northern Lights.
But until I get to see those pretty green lights, I can always put on my green laser goggles and watch my CO2 tube fluoresce, and that kind of can makes it look kind of the same. And then I can just like open the freezer door and let the cold air blow and just close my eyes and imagine that's where I'm at. So Travis is talking. Oh, he must be doing something else.
He was talking to his boss.
He must be.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's still listening. Think we can make him laugh?
Yeah, he's listening. He was getting
I heard all
orders.
that.
She just walked in here and said, mute Mike now, and he just went click. Okay, what, honey?
No, she was needed me to order a piece of equipment for her.
I need you to order some equipment for me.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing.
Maybe a couple extra UV printers. I'll hold them, so they can stay here in Tennessee and stay warm until you need them.
Yeah. I'll get right on that.
Hell, the rest of it is instead of, he could order some Baltic birch since he's got all those top secret connections.
Hey,
he's not allowed to buy from them anymore. Yeah.
What do you mean? I just walk over there and get it.
Remember, he just has to push across a raft across the pond.
Yeah.
He just jumps on his boat, probably. Meet you halfway.
Yeah, or a big drone. Or we were talking. I forgot who was Chris. Were we talking about turning the laser into a hovercraft, reversing the fan so that you can take it off the crate, and then after you reverse the fan so it'll suck it to the floor so it won't move.
Good Lord.
Just have to put a skirt around it.
This is turning into a complete nerd show.
So, somebody ran us back home and asked a question about a laser.
Oh, I was getting ready to bust Sam's chops, and he left. They were boring everybody. Everybody's left. Sam left.
I'm going to say, where the hell did everybody go?
We're boring everybody, I guess.
Yeah, we're boring everybody. I'm glad I don't host a night show.
Well, they'll show back up out. They'll all come back after this.
Some talk show host you are.
Yeah, I would be a horrible talk show host. I would be a better moderator. Let everybody else talk, and I'll just introduce everyone.
So anything new out there in the laser
You
world?
go right ahead. That's all her.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. So this is legit questions here. We had somebody, there's a photographer that we've been doing some stuff for, some signs for daughters' weddings, whatever. And we're like, well, we can actually laser engrave pictures. And she's like, really? And I'm like, yes, but I don't know how to convert it to laser ready. So we told her what program we use, and told us she was going to give her husband some homework to figure it all out, because he's the one who does all the stuff in Photoshop and whatever for their pictures, all of the things. So he was supposed to be researching, because I was like, yeah, I totally do it, but I have no idea how to do it. And I saw a tutorial the other day on, I guess, getting the pictures or the images ready in Lightburn, but I didn't watch it. So does anybody do it?
Yeah, it's not hard at all, actually.
Okay.
All you do is import it into Lightburn, and let me open up Lightburn so I'm not talking wrong here.
Do you want me to make you a presenter so you can share your screen?
The organizer has stopped sharing your webcam. Really? You turned off my webcam?
Yeah, he did.
It's because I'm in a select window. What happens if I make you presenter?
I don't know.
He should still be able to share his screen. I can share mine.
Can you share your screen without me doing it?
We can't.
Yeah, I can't.
We cannot click on it? I can click on it.
There we go. I made you the presenter.
Okay.
Now will it let you?
Yeah, he should be able to do it without even being a presenter, because I just shared mine and I had to stop.
Really? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So let me grab an image here really quick. Probably something a little more exciting than a. Ooh, wait, hold on. There's
a
one.
hat press. Yeah.
Say, don't choose my picture.
Oh, that's an awesome picture. Look how monstrous that thing is. So as soon as you import it, Lightburn's going to convert it black and white to you,
Yeah.
or for you. And then from here, they moved this stuff around.
You can right click the image.
Just right click it. Right click the image and go to
You have to select it
select
first.
it and adjust
Okay.
image. Yep.
So yeah, and then you just go to adjust image. And let me drag that over. Come on, drag.
You're gonna get a
I'm
nice
still
little
on
preview window.
Yeah, I'm still on beta too. So
Yeah.
All right. So and then from here, typically I'm almost always using Stucky or Jarvis for the modes. Jarvis I have found works a little bit better on like wood and acrylics and stuff like that. Stucky's good for like slate tiles, that type of stuff. And then depending on what you're doing, you're either going to want to do a negative image or a positive. Just depends on which direction you're wanting it to go. So if you're, let's see if I remember this correctly. So if you're doing it on acrylic that's going to be backlit, you'll want to use a negative. If you're doing it on front-facing acrylic, positive should be just fine. Come on. Ooh, hold on, let me turn off my mining. That's probably what's tanking some stuff here. There we go. Okay, so and then so you can kind of see, I mean, there's not a whole lot of detail in here yet. So usually what I'll do is I'll bump my contrast up just a smidge. And come on. This computer hasn't been restarted forever and I'm running big software in the background. So you have to bear with me a second here. Okay, and then so that's probably a little too hot there. Sorry, I wasn't expecting to do any of this stuff today. So I have a bunch of stuff running.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. So something about like, come on, computer, around an 8 for this image. And then the brightness, I would bring down just a smidge, probably to like a -2. And then I usually do an enhancement radius of either 1 or 2, just keep it really low on that. And then just bring up the amount just a smidge there. So, and something like this is actually, I know it looks super grainy on here, but once your laser goes and lays it down, it'll be nice and clean.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, all the stuff that you would normally do is going to be in here. You can see there's already a couple built-in basics. I don't know if you guys have access to those yet or not, or if that's on the beta. If they're not in there, they will be very soon though. So you have a couple in there already to do. And yeah, from there, pretty much hit OK and set your settings here, cut layer. So something like this, probably like if we were doing it on acrylic, I'd probably hit, you know, I'll just cheat, teach people a library. Acrylic, no thickness, engrave. Why?
Yeah. Select your layer. There you go.
Yeah, it's still not letting me assign it.
Oh, it's not a photo. That's an engrave.
Yeah,
or a vector.
it,
You don't have
gotcha,
a photo
yeah.
settings. You have to duplicate it. Just right click and duplicate. But yeah.
or change your image to a different color for a minute and then change it and then switch it back. I don't know if that'll
so this is, you probably don't want to run 1016 DPI. You can probably tell I was running my Galvo.
Yeah. Or at a 45-degree scan angle. It would hate that. It needs to be 0 or 180.
Oh, come on. You're taking all the fun out of it. So
I don't want those service calls.
Come on. So on acrylic, I'd run settings about like this, and this is on my 63-130, max power of 10, minimum power of 4.5. Now your settings are going to be a little bit different because I've got my minimum power dropped a little bit from factory settings.
I don't think it takes that into account if it's just making dots. Minimum power is never used. That's only if you're doing a grayscale or a power scale.
Yeah, it's not supposed to, but I have noticed a little bit of a difference in it. I don't know if that's just because I'm on beta or not, but I have noticed a little bit of a difference there. So, and then I'll usually run something around like a 288 DPI for engraving on acrylic. You could bump it up a little bit, but don't go above 350 because it'll just turn into a melted mess.
It'll wash it all out.
Yeah, and so, and yeah, from there, I mean, that's about your settings for it, and this thing's ready to rock and roll.
Yeah. Now, if that guy does his homework and he's looking at a lot of the stuff that's not Lightburn specific, they're going to be processing the photo either using some plugins or using Imager or whatever, a couple of different things. There's One Touch, you know, there's Photograph, all kinds of things, or basic instructions on how to do similar things in Photoshop, which you're basically using Unsharp Mask, you know, and changing your midtones and your gamma, you know, the brightness and stuff. But if he does do homework and it says step 1, you know, set your brightness to whatever, you know, all of this, and he does it outside in Photoshop, you'll want to bring that image in and use pass through. And what that will do is Lightburn will not process that image whatsoever unless you rotate it or change the scale, and then it'll automatically resample and you've lost everything that you've gotten prepared for, unless that doesn't do that anymore. I'm not positive about that. But if he does want to manipulate an image outside of Lightburn to make it laser ready, just turn on pass through. And that way Lightburn won't do anything to the image once you bring it in.
Yep. No, another thing.
Okay. Thank you.
So another thing in terms of your laser setup and determining your optimal photo settings. If you go on to Laser Everything's YouTube channel, Alex just released a really good 2-part series on photos for, you know, several different, you know, he did it on diode, CO2, and fiber, and it explains a lot about setting the right, you know, DPI, LPI for your actual focus as well as your machine, right? Because each frequency, right? Each wavelength has a different optimal spot size, right? So by the nature of wavelength, UV is the most finite, right? And then, you know, CO2 is at the other end, right? It's going to have a bigger spot size because it's the higher wavelength. But when you go dial it in, what you'll find is a lot of people try to over engrave the detail, which causes it to actually wash out, right? So less is more, right? You get a high resolution lens that can do, you know, really high resolution, but in reality, you know, your laser can only lay down dots so fast, so accurately, regardless of the capability of the lens, right? The lens is no longer a limiting factor, right? But you also can't push your tube to fire fast enough and meet the high, you know, the speeds and the DPI needed to get it all put together. So he actually put together a real comprehensive video that kind of walks you through finding your ideal settings, right, for speed, your power, as well as your dot size. And then in Lightburn, they have a dot width adjust feature, which will actually in the software will allow you to kind of adjust the dot because it's putting a dot down, but the pixels on the page are actually, you know, not dots, right? They're looked at squares. So what it does is it kind of trims the starting and stopping of that dot when it fires and the overlapping to give you more of a consistent picture. So it's a real good explanation. I've started playing with it a little bit, but yeah, it's changed the quality of pictures a lot. Just in, you know, understanding a little bit more. He worked with Jason from Lightburn to put together the video and had a lot of input on the features and behind the scenes on what Lightburn's put into the software and how it works.
I second that. I watched it. It's really good video. Very informative and explains, you know, how lets you understand how the laser's actually working and the overlap and everything. And, you know, too high of a resolution being bad with the overlap, just wash out. Yeah, it's really cool. Good videos.
Yeah, and Jeremy made a good point that so many people think, oh, I've got a 2000 by 2000, you know, DPI resolution image here. I need to set my line interval or my LPI at 2000, and that's not at all the case. That's the whole purpose of having those dithering modes so that it figures that out for you, because realistically, you're only outputting with the 2-inch lens, you know, 500 DPI tops, but like he said, more like 300. You know, but that doesn't mean you can't get a good detail and have it look as good as that 2000 DPI image with those 300 lines per inch. So
And you got to think too is the size that you're engraving on, right? If you're engraving on a 1 inch by 1 inch, the detail is going to mean a lot more. If you're on a 2 foot by 2 foot, right? The dots don't mean anything, right? Because nobody's going to see the detail in the broader image, right? So think about like putting something on a billboard, right? If you've ever seen a billboard up close, they don't have dots, right? They have paintbrush size, roller strokes in there, right? They're
or like the jumbotron at the stadium. When you get too close to that thing, there's no way you'll see what it is. The LEDs look as big as your thumb.
Yeah. Yep. So just understanding the scale of it there, and that's something you see a lot of people. Oh, and I'm doing this, and I'm engraving at 800 DPI. Yeah, but why, right?
Because they like to waste time.
Yeah, well, and that's the next thing is the higher you go up on the DPI, the longer it takes to do, right? And what you'll find is, hey, less is more there, and to a certain point. And say in the video and one of the videos that Jason from Lightburn, the developer of Lightburn, and I think it may have been when they were first showing the beta for Lightburn launching and engraving some photos. He was commenting on it. He's like, yeah, you're way too high. I push it down to like 200, 250 DPI, right? And it gave a lot better result.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
When we get engraving bigger pieces of plexiglass, we drop all the way down sometimes to like 175, 150 DPI, and it works just fine.
Yeah.
And a lot faster.
A lot faster.
All right, Outback Jack, do you want this thing? I got to go check something. You going to do your thing? Or you're going to be lonely out there in the woods, aren't you?
He's having fun talking with his mic muted. I know that word.
I know what you said that.